Hello.
Hi. I'm Danny.
And I'm Tommy.
And we are Danny and Tommy, and this is Love at Infinity.
It is.
You drew a blank there, didn't you?
I did. I had to think of which channel this, what the name of it was.
Yeah.
But we are here. It's Sunday. We have the gold shades behind us, so you know where we are. And you know what we're about to do. We're going to do what we promised last video. We're going to share our journey of self-discovery and coming out.
Coming out.
I hear that Diana Ross song.
I'm coming out.
So I always start at the beginning.
Oh, go ahead.
Coming out.
Let's bring that in. Rein it in. No, coming out. Ooh. So, for those in the community, the gay community, coming out can be a scary, scary 2 words. It can mean the difference between keeping the people in your life that you love and you think love you, and not having those people anymore.
And about that, I want to say this, especially for any viewer who may be a bit younger, if you're still living at home. You know, you want to balance that honesty, at least be honest with yourself, but we do realize that, because we've been there, you know, the levels at which you come out, and you'll hear that in our stories, need to be considered in the context of your current situation. If you're living at home, if you're still subject to your parents, if you're a certain age, you know, you have to play by their rules and know that there will be a time when you will be able to kind of decide and do those things on your own.
And when Tommy says play by their rules, he means respect the rules of their house.
Yeah. Right.
But also at any age, at any time, you do have to play by the rules of yourself as well.
Absolutely.
Respect your identity and your mental sanity and all that good
Absolutely.
stuff. So yeah. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna tell our coming out stories, talk to you about how that felt for us, what that was like for us. And the reason we're doing this is because I know for me personally, I would go to YouTube, and before I came out, I would go to YouTube and just find courage and strength in watching other people tell their stories of what they were going to do about the fact that they were gay. Some people have a party about it. Some people run and shout it from the mountaintops because they're extremely proud about who they are and where they are in life. I didn't have that reality. That wasn't my experience. And if it's not yours, if you can't be open, honest, or free about who you are and who you choose to love, then this video might help you come up with some tools and some methods of coming out, just like Tommy said, just how to survive inside the closet until you're in a position where you can come out. So yeah. You want to tell your story first, or am I going first?
Okay, I can go first. So, I first knew that I am gay when I was, I'm looking at pictures. You can't see them on the other end of the wall here on the other side. I was that age.
How old were you in that picture?
Well, you know what, here, to be fair.
You go and get the picture off the wall?
Grab the picture, the little guy there.
Excuse me.
The one that's not on the wall, and I'll show
guy?
you. Grab him.
Okay.
He'll be easier to get. So I first knew I was gay when I was this guy.
Oh, wasn't he cute?
Is. So
he's adorable, little Barack Obama.
He is in the 4th grade. That's little 4th grade Tommy with his suit on and his texturizer and all of that deal there. It never really took to my hair well. My hair didn't like it. It just spiked up. Anyway, so I first knew, probably even really before then, but I didn't have any words to kind of verbalize that. I knew who I liked, and I just didn't know how to feel about it. And fast forward a few years, I'm in high school, and I think I'm a senior or junior in high school. I was 17 or 18, and I was having some trouble in school, and I felt, just because really I kind of hid in a context of asexuality. I just kind of, because I was fairly religious, I studied with my grandmother with Jehovah's Witnesses. We weren't Jehovah's Witnesses, but we affiliated with them for years. Before I was born, they were. And so I could kind of be in that context. I went to a Catholic high school. And so in that, you know, in both of these cultures, it's pretty okay to just, you know, be celibate and just not have any dealings with anyone. But there were school dances, there were proms, there were all of that, and I didn't participate in any of them because I did become really conscious and staunch on the fact that, well, I knew who I was, and I came to that realization, but I wasn't going to try to like any girls, or, I mean, not try, I couldn't like them anyway. I wasn't going to like fake with them. That was like a big thing for me. So I never went anywhere, and I certainly wasn't going to go with a boy. There was no thought of that. But I remember watching the Ellen episode. I think it was in '97, so a little bit before. That was the first time I actually verbalized to myself, okay, I'm gay. I went in the mirror and said that. I realized
that Ellen episode was when she came out on...
When she came out on her sitcom called Ellen. I think that was in '96 or '97. So I was maybe freshman or sophomore in high school. So I had that realization, and then so a couple years later, being like a senior in high school, I was kind of, high school experience was kind of culminating. I went to an all-boys school. I never went to any dances. I never said about anything about liking anyone. And so I was getting a little teasing, and I was having a rough moment, and I came out to my mother, and she was like, okay, I've known this. It's okay. We're going to deal with this. I've always known, and I'm glad you realized it. And she was extra loving, but kind of aggressive with it in a loving way, but it was too much for me and my little personality.
What did that look like?
What did that look like? If anybody remembers the show Queer as Folk, I always liken it to the mother on there that wore all the badges, the PFLAG badges and all that, Debbie, Michael's mother, but just maybe a slightly toned down version. She was wanting to get me in every gay youth group and just get me involved so I can be self-accepting and self-loving. She took me to a group here at the Centers in Cleveland, and I was overwhelmed by being around other gay youth, and it was like a support group kind of thing. We were all sitting around talking with an adult, and it was just way too much for me. And so I withdrew from that and went way deep in the closet and became very self-hating. And fast forward a few years, I went to became Catholic and went to seminary for a few years because I said, you know what? I just need to be celibate. I need to be a priest. It'll be great. And there were certain things about that, obviously, that attracted me and were kind of in alignment with my overall calling. But I was definitely escaping there because I wanted to not have to deal with sexuality at all. Spent 5 years there. And toward the end, I started realizing, you know what? This is not for me. I was looking on YouTube as well at coming out stories and seeing, like, couples and gay movies, and start yearning for a relationship and knowing that that's something that would be important for me. So I left seminary, and soon after I started exploring the idea of dating, but I was way too shy, so I went online and began this like 4 or 5 year journey of online dating. And so I was I felt pretty good, and I felt like I was as out as I needed to be. When I came out to my mother years before, she told different family members, so I didn't have to do all of that with them. It irritated me when I was younger, but I came to appreciate it later because I didn't have to go around on a coming out tour to everyone. So they all knew, and everybody was pretty good, and it's like, yeah, just be you, and blah, blah, blah. And I was still finding my way out of the closet. I was peeking out, but I was still kind of had both feet there. And I don't even know when it happened. I think it just happened gradually, just with a lot of self-acceptance and coming to also terms with the spirituality that works for me. Then I really got to a place eventually, maybe I would say about 3 or 4 years ago, around maybe when we met, that I really just got completely okay with who I am and just understand fully that God loves me. God created me exactly who I am. I am not in sin. I am not living in sin. I was created. This is how God made me, and He made me to, have a loving partner and to be that and to be open and to not have to compartmentalize my life and have my gay identity here and have my spiritual identity here and blah, 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 and have to be out with some people and closeted at work. Anybody, you do find that you still come out all the time with your new coworkers and this and that, but I just try to just live openly, and it just helps to kind of have that. And I don't know. I mean, we are who we are on social media, and I think that's really important. I think that helped me a great deal. So I think when we met, I was still kind of like, okay, I'm who I am, but I don't need to publicize it. Blah blah blah. That's kind of over there. But this guy here was very much about being transparent and living truthfully, and that really helped me that last step to not have to think like that identity needed to be something I kept behind. Mm-hmm. So it's like when we posted pictures and things like that, it's like we don't do it because we want to
cause a reaction.
No, it's not about a reaction. It's about our health, our mental health, our spiritual health, all of that.
That's what we would do otherwise. If I had a great day at work, I would take a picture with my coworker. So because we're so
well, and I always wouldn't do that. That's not necessarily something that I would have done, but it has helped me because I'm not. When you're closeted, at least in my case, I'll say this: it's very easy to become a liar for without using other words. Because you have to you tell yourself or whatever because your circumstance, you have to put things in compartments, and so you're not being truthful. So it's really easy to just become a liar just because that you feel the need to lie, and it's just because where you are. So I didn't feel the need to disclose all these different things about me, and that certainly was the main one. So it's been very healthy for me to speak out and to be who I am on all levels because I force myself to not be that. So I have being with him to credit for that to a large degree because we're just open about who we are, and it feels really good. And I wouldn't trade it.
Yeah.
That's kind of my coming out.
Thank you for coming out, Tommy.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Well, my coming out story, like Tommy says, was a process. I feel like I didn't officially come out until I was about 27 years old. Which can be late, especially nowadays where it's a little more accepted. Being gay is a little more accepted in society than it was, say for instance, before, like in the 90s and before. There was a time, and in some cultures still today, coming out as gay means you are sacrificing your life because someone's going to kill you. But to our youth and those who are watching me here in America, thank God, there's so much freedom in coming out. Because think about it this way, for someone who's not gay, who may be watching this, if you were attracted to a member of the opposite sex, say for instance you're a guy and you're attracted to girls, and you had to hide that as a secret, and you couldn't even let people know that you were looking at a girl, thinking about her in a romantic way or a sexual way, that would cause a lot of stress and anxiety for you. And if you don't believe me, try it. Try to pretend to hide, and try not to ask a girl for her number. Don't assume that she's attracted to men. It's a whole psychological reality that's hard to come by. And so people wonder why the statistics show that homosexuals have high ratings of mental illness and high ratings of suicide. It's because you have to live your life in such a way that is very crazy making. So my coming out. So when I was a teenager, my family was very religious, and I grew up in a very religious community. In fact, they had a school, and until 8th grade, I was raised up in the school of this religious community. And so I went to church, I went to school, and I hung out with all the people from the religious part of my life. So I had no outlet for expressing what I felt like sexually or romantically. I dated a couple girls in school, both elementary school and junior high school. When I say dated, I mean I went out with them. I mean, when we went bowling as friends, I might have held their hand. I hadn't kissed a girl. I certainly hadn't done any more than kiss a girl. And the last girlfriend I had was in college. We were together for about 6 months, and I ended that relationship because I knew by then for a fact that all of my wiring when it came to romance and sexuality was geared toward other males. And so that was my last female girlfriend. And after that, I began the process of pursuing male relationships, and it was very, very difficult because it's like, well, how do you ask someone out who d- doesn't assume that you're out and you're not out? It was just a process. What ended up happening was I developed an addiction to pornography, and I was not as secretive as I obviously needed to be in order to keep that to myself. And so one of my siblings found out that I had been viewing gay pornography, and she told another, well, I guess you know which sibling. Well, you don't know which sibling because I have a lot of siblings. But I have a brother and three sisters. And so my sisters found out, two of my sisters found out. And then in my 20s, when I was about 24 and a half, I was living in Chicago at the time. I was away at school, and we did a merged conference call with my other sister and my brother. So all five siblings were on the phone conference. I was alone in my apartment. They were each in their respective places, and we all talked it out. I told the two siblings that didn't know yet, and they told me from almost like a clinical perspective of, oh, well, have you ever had sex with a female? And it was just like, well, no, nor would I ever want to. But they said, well, if you haven't had sex with a female, you don't know if this is true. You just because you're attracted to someone doesn't mean that this is how you're gonna like it forever. But I had to advocate for myself in that moment and let them know that there's certain things you just know. And I knew from my interest, and I should take this moment to clarify, Tommy, have you ever been sexually molested or abused?
No.
Okay, and I've never been sexually, and I asked them that on camera because I knew the answer. I wasn't putting them out there. I've never been sexually molested or abused. I just want to take that second to just say, some people have been, and some people who have been molested or sexually abused end up gay. Some people who have been molested or sexually abused end up straight.
Exactly, and because I think I know why you were asking that, because a lot of people have a perception that gay people, especially gay males,
somebody
end up
made me
that
this way. Something happened. My parents, when okay, so I told my siblings on that phone call. My brother just he had so many questions. They were all cool with it, by the way. Not cool with it, I should say. I don't not all of them agreed with where I am sexually. The fact that I believe that I was born this way, but they all accepted me regardless. They let me know immediately. They love me. They cried because I had spent 20 years or 20 something years holding that secret by myself. That's the way that you react when you love someone.
Yeah.
For parents who kick their children out of their house, or to parents who say, you're no longer my child, there's something missing within them.
Yeah.
There's something that they don't understand about their own humanity.
I agree. Can I say,
Go ahead, sure.
And if you, and I agree with what Danny's saying here, if they just don't completely get it yet, and they don't think of it the way that you do or the way that we do, yet they still love you. You know, just give them some, because they need to have time to mourn. That vision of your life that they had. And you of course, we understand that. We have to have time to mourn that too when we come to that realization. So they need that too, because they didn't know. I mean, you maybe have known for a while, but they didn't.
Yeah, unlike Tommy's mother, my mother took the longest. I eventually told both my parents. My father immediately told me, "You're my son, I love you, I'm going to love you regardless." And my mother, while I know that to be true of her, that she's going to love me regardless, she gave me tough love for a while. My parents had bought me a car, and she kind of, I was moving back to Chicago from Youngstown, Ohio, and even though it wasn't mandatory that I have a car with me. Had it been mandatory, she might have let me take it, but she retracted the car. She retracted a lot of things that her help, her financial support. Because of the way that she was raised and taught to believe that homosexuality is a sin. and that she perceived that I was acting in a way that did not fit the way that she raised me to be. And the thing that is important for people to realize is that when a person comes out of the closet, identifies themselves as a gay person, they're just accepting a part of themselves that they're gonna need in order to survive. For me to continue to lie to myself and tell myself that I can date women, and I could have continued to date women. I don't know. I might have been successful in a bedroom with a woman. I really will never know what that looks like. But what I would not have been is authentically and essentially me. I would not be able to look myself in the mirror and say, "Hey, I'm proud of you. You are who God made you to be."
And I think that, well, I can speak for myself. I don't want to project onto anyone, even you. I feel like I would not have been able to give that woman my whole self, because there's always, because my sexual identity is a part of how I was constructed, how I was made. And so if I'm living out in an authentic way, you're not bringing your whole self to the table. You're bringing a diminished and partial form of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
That's very true. It's like, to be authentically you have to do what is in your core. What makes you come alive, what makes you happy. I remember just before I came out and had all these conversations, I had a conversation with God, because it didn't mean much to me whether or not people were going to be upset with me because I came out as a gay man. It meant a lot to me. It meant a huge amount to me whether or not God would accept me and love me. And so I had a prayer in which I told him the way that I would love my life to be. I described my romantic partner as a male. I told him how I would love to have a good job, live in a nice place, come home to a man who loved me and who could accept me for who I am, eventually raise children together, raise a family. Because another thing that people assume is that you can't raise a healthy family, you can't be a good, decent contributor to society. You're just going to be this person who, in the small-minded community that I found myself, people were under the assumption that I just wanted to have sex with as many men as I possibly could, and no responsibilities. That's not always the case. Unfortunately, that's the reality you see when people feel like they need to live closeted lives and have secret means of living out their fantasies. We don't need fantasies when we can live out our realities. Mm-hmm. Fantasies are for people who can't wake up, can't get out. When you come out the closet, then you can live a decent, balanced life.
You can be woke.
Stay woke. Thank you for saying that, because in our Black community, we face more backlash as Black men for coming out as gay. There's this huge thing now where people talk about the feminization of Black men. Wake up. Like, you're either going to be feminine or you're going to be masculine. It's two energies, feminine energy and masculine energy. If someone expresses themselves femininely, so be it. Yeah. Like, what is that to you?
It doesn't mean they're not a man.
Doesn't mean that they're not a man, unless they tell you that they're not a man. Right. And then roll with that. Mm-hmm. Like, your interpretation of God's scripture and your interpretation of the Constitution, your interpretation of it, it's all your interpretation. You have a closet that you came out of. Mm-hmm. You came out of your closet as heterosexual. You might have come out of your closet as Caucasian. You might have come out of your closet as wealthy. Everybody has a closet. It's just that some closets are more easily accepted in society than others. So this video is primarily for those who were wondering about our coming out story. I know it's getting kind of lengthy. And it was also for those who, did I tell the rest of my coming out story? Yeah, I pretty much told my family. And then I did do a coming out tour. I told, I set up meetings. I would call my cousins, my aunts and uncles, and I would go to their house and sit down with them, strike up a conversation, just tell them, hey, you might not have known this about me, but I am gay. I realized this upon puberty, I just started noticing that I was attracted to males, and it scared me for a while. And we had a conversation, and then what I found is that by being transparent and open with them, they share with me things that they experienced. It wasn't always that they were gay. In fact, I don't think there were any stories in which they were gay, but they always had a closet that they came out of with me, something that I didn't know about them that they told me. And that's what coming out of closets does.
Yeah.
It brings us all into the room, because everybody's in a closet until you come out.
And so, when you're authentically yourself and you share that openly, you can open yourself up to the world. Just people will lovingly approach you and interact with you in a whole different way.
Yeah.
When you bring your whole
They
self.
appreciate your honesty.
Yeah.
And then once everybody's in the room, everybody can have a conversation.
Yeah.
Before, you just tiptoeing around secrets.
Absolutely.
And sliding in and out of dark alleys.
You can become a friend to the whole world.
Yeah. That's what we want to do. That's what this whole channel is about.
That's
Love
it.
at Infinity.
Yeah.
Being honest, being open, being you. Because I don't want to talk to a carbon copy of you.
Right.
It's just not. I want to talk to the real you.
Yeah.
I want to talk to the you who loves jazz. The you who loves whatever you love.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you love.
However you
Whoever
love
you
it.
love.
Whoever and however you love it.
Live it.
Yeah. Anything else about your coming out story? Or?
No, I think that's all I'm going to give them for now because we're on 26 minutes.
They've enjoyed every minute of it.
Every minute. We've enjoyed it.
Yeah, we have.
We always enjoy our time with you. We'll be back. So now that we've covered this heavy topic, we'll probably come back with some more playful stuff. Or we might even tackle something more heavy, like the condition of the country. Or we could talk about our upcoming event next year.
Okay.
2018.
I think we should make another video very soon.
We'll make another video very soon.
Yeah.
Subscribe, like our channel.
Yeah. Remember to like the videos. It's very important that you like the videos, please, and subscribe. And share the videos as well. And click the bell for the notifications. Because sometimes that is the only way that you can ensure that you stay subscribed and to know that you are getting all of our new videos.
Yeah,
so please
today
do
with
that.
all of them. This is our third video, so if you haven't seen the first two, go back to our channel, Love at Infinity.
And please comment. Tell us what you think of these videos. Tell us what things and topics you may like to see. Give us that feedback. It's very important to us. We just ask. We will accept and like any comments, but we do ask that you try to just keep the tone as loving as possible.
Yeah. That's
the place we want to create here. Not so much for us. You can say whatever to us. We don't want you just to be mean to us or anything like that, but especially to each other. We don't want you interacting in any way other than loving with each other.
It's just not necessary.
It isn't.
Not the place for it.
No. So, but we love you all.
All right.
We're going to do our...
Oh, yes. I guess it's my turn.
Okay.
You can finish if you want.
Okay.
All right. Dear kind and gracious Father, thank you so much for this time that we're spending with our audience and with each other. Thank you for the realization of who we are in you and the fact that you love everyone, regardless of where they come from, regardless of where they're going, regardless of who or what they say they are. You know us. You know us best. And we have to be as forgiving of each other and who we choose to be as you have been. And I say choose to be, and I mean that. Because every day and everything is a choice. I choose to be here. I don't have to be here. Some people have made the choice not to be here, but I thank you for life. I thank you for the gift of love. Now I pray for all of our viewers, all of our listeners, all of our fellow lovers, that we'll have an amazing week, an amazing time, an amazing life, and that whomever we choose to love, may they love us back. In Jesus' name.
Jesus, and I just want to say, what you said, I like what you said about who we choose to be, because we do have that power. And
we do.
We have that power because while, we were created the way we were created, we have the choice of how we choose to live that out and how we choose to express that or not. So that is our choice. It fully is. And we're thankful for that choice, for that free will.
Amen.
Amen. Until next time.
Peace.
Peace.